If you can tell me what this is, I'll give you $1. Maybe. What's up guys? I'm Lizzie. If you've been following me for a while now, chances are you've already seen my video on EMs, but I've got a few new followers since I've made that video, so here we are again going over the magic of EMs. If you own horses, you must know how difficult and expensive it can be to keep them healthy. Especially this time of year when the weather is changing, their diets are changing. It can be very difficult on the horse to make that transition, so they need extra gut support. And that's why I'm talking about EMs again right now, because this might be exactly what your horse is lacking right now. So this right here, this is EMs, which stands for efficient microbes or effective microbes. It can go either way. So what is EMs? Effective/efficient microbes. EMs is a mixed culture of beneficial natural occurring organisms. It's a very beneficial bacteria and fungi. So to simplify it, some of you may be familiar with something like sourdough. So in order to make a sourdough bread, you need a sourdough starter. The starter is what is alive, and it's what makes the yeast. It has the beneficial bacteria, it makes the gases and the bubbles, and it makes the bread rise, basically. EMs basically has the same concept where you have a starter, and it's a mixture of that starter, molasses, and water. And you mix those things together, you let it ferment for like 3 days, and it becomes this beneficial bacteria. And once you have your EMs fermented or brewed after like 3 days, you can take some of that EMs and use that as your next starter. So what are the benefits of EMs? Why would you bother getting yourself a culture and keeping it alive? I will explain. The beneficial bacteria in EMs is beneficial for pretty much everything, whether it's an animal, a human, a plant, doesn't matter. My mom discovered EMs probably over 20 years ago when she was trying to raise goats and for the life of her could not keep them healthy. They were just getting sick and dropping dead constantly. Nothing she could do would fix it. Until she discovered EMs, and then suddenly it was super easy to keep her goats healthy and alive. The goats took to the EMs immediately, loved it, and she pretty much never had an issue with them ever since. So obviously she was sold on EMs and has been making them ever since. So our culture goes all the way back to when she first got them over 20 years ago. So the way we feed it out is we put it in the animal's water every morning. And our horses love it so much that they won't even drink the water until the EMs are in it. And frankly, I haven't met a horse that hasn't loved and takes the EMs immediately. So if you have a super picky horse, it might take them a little bit longer to adjust, but they'll take to it and they'll love it, I guarantee it. So EMs are basically an all-around thing that you can pretty much use for anything, like literally. We use it as a people supplement. We give it to all of our animals. We use it in the gardens. My mom makes a homemade soap with EMs, and we've had a ton of great reviews on people loving it for their skin and for their hair. So not only is it great for the gut, but it's also great for everything. All of our horses have super shiny, soft coats. Their feet are always super healthy. They're all barefoot. Their hooves are always nice and hard. They shed their soles like they're supposed to. We never have issues with worms, and we very rarely have cases of a sick horse. So if you're looking for something to boost your horse's immunity and give them extra gut support, I highly recommend that you look into EMs. I'll give a link down below where you can buy your EM culture so you can start making your own EMs. It's super easy, super cheap, super simple to keep the culture going. It doesn't take a lot of your time. It's much more simple than like sourdough starter, for example. And if you're gonna be feeding it out to your animals and consuming it for yourself, you probably want 2 different types of EMs going, an animal grade one and a human grade one, where you use animal grade molasses and human grade molasses. You can buy the animal grade molasses much cheaper than the human grade ones. So yeah. So if you're gonna buy your own EM culture, the way you would keep it going is by taking that EMs, putting it in a jar, taking some molasses, adding it to it, and topping it off with water. So it would be a 1-to-1 ratio of EMs to molasses, and then you would top off the jar with water. So a 1-to-120 ratio typically. It's super not picky on the ratios. It's super simple to keep alive. Definitely not as finicky and fussy as something like a sourdough starter. So don't be intimidated by that. It does not take all of your time. You can definitely leave it uncared for a long time. It'll still be fine and be good. So I'd explain the flavor of EMs to be something similar to like kombucha, where it's kind of sour and vinegary, but it's also got very sweet undertones. So you can definitely drink it plain, but it's not super pleasant. So I like to mix it with my lemonade, which makes the flavor much more pleasant. My boyfriend gets random heartburn once in a while, and all he has to do is take a shot of EMs and it'll cure the heartburn immediately. So that's also something to keep in mind if you have those kind of issues. So now let's go over our more detailed process on how we make a bulk amount of it so we can feed it out to our animals every single day. So our process is that we have 4 5-gallon buckets that we always keep in rotation. We keep them in a bin down the hallway in our house, just because it's important to keep your EMs in a room temperature environment. If the temperature keeps fluctuating from really hot to really cold, or if it's always really cold or really hot, it can mess with the culture a little bit and make your EMs not ferment quite properly. So don't keep them in a cold place, don't keep them in a hot place. It's best to keep them in a room temperature environment. So every morning we'll use a 5-gallon bucket of EMs to feed out to all of the animals. So the chickens will get some in their water, the horses will get half in their water, the cows will get the other half. We'll leave about that much in the bottom of a 5-gallon bucket, and that is what we'll use to feed it and start brewing it for the next round. So we'll add molasses to that, top it off with water. We'll put it at the end of our 4 5-gallon buckets row, and we'll keep them rotating like that, just so that they have 3 days to properly ferment before we use them again. It makes for a very easy, efficient system that works well. And then of course for our human consumption EMs, we have our own separate smaller containers that we keep rotating. But I should also mention that if you're using EMs, you should not be using a metal or aluminum water tank, because the acidity in the EMs will slowly wear away and rust at the aluminum metal tanks, which is not good for the water, not good for the tank, not good for the horses or cows. But I sometimes get random comments of people telling me to clean up my horse's water tank because to them it looks like their water is brown. It's just the EMs in our water. But the other cool thing about EMs is that because it has such a good bacteria in it, it keeps the water clean for much longer, and it doesn't allow things like algae to grow in your water. Of course, in really hot seasons and days, if you let your water sit for a long time without cleaning it out, it can start to stink and make its own kind of fermentation going on in the tub. So you do want to keep it clean still, but you don't have to clean it nearly as often, which is really nice. So because we're coming into this complicated season of hot to cold, it's very hard and jarring on the horse to make that transition. The sugars in the grass is spiking, their diet is changing, environment is changing, everything is changing. It's always very hard on the horse. A lot of horses end up colicking and having gut issues around this time of year. So to make sure that your horse is staying healthy, I would highly recommend that you get into the world of EMs, because it's really not that complicated and it can do more good than harm. I also have videos on the mineral mix that we give our horses. It's very important this time of year that they always have minerals available. So I'll link that video up here if you are interested. I'll also link my other video talking about EMs right here, just so you can go check it out, because I have more information on EMs there as well. So I hope you guys learned something from this video. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, give it a big like and subscribe. You can go follow me on Instagram and TikTok. My handle is SportPony13. I post new videos every single Sunday here on YouTube. So don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week Sunday. Bye!